views and opinions expressed by callers, guests, and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of the Black Talk Radio Network and Black Talk Media Project. Black Talk Radio is new black media for the new millennium.
Dinar would have had serious consequences for the world financial system, but may also have empowered the people of Africa, something black activists say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake. We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing cake.
Say the US wants to avoid at all costs.
We're slicing.
Gaddafi didn't give up. In the months leading up to the military intervention, he called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars. It's an idea that would shift the economic balance of the world. Countries' wealth would depend on how much gold they have, not how many dollars they trade. And Libya has 144 tons of gold.
Welcome everyone to Thando Radio Show, brought to you by Black Talk Radio Network. I'm your host, Dave from LA, coming to you live from FEMA Region number 6. Today is May the 3rd, 2017. We have a live show for you today. Looking forward to it. It is a Wednesday. It's a wise Wednesday. Brother Davis is there. So we're going to get right into the show. But everyone continue to support Black Talk Radio Network by going to the website for Black Talk Radio Network, www.blacktalkradionetwork.com. And hit the donation prompt that's there and give some of your financial energy so that this network can continue to do what it's been doing and grow. Also, Black Talk Radio Network has established a social media network known as BTR Community for you. So you can engage in your social media activities right there instead of going to the mainstream media for your social media activities. You can do it with BTR Community. And BTR Community is something that you can find by going to www.btrcommunity, or you can find it on the homepage for Black Talk Radio Network. For only $24 a year, you can engage in promoting yourself, your business, or something else that you think needs to have more public exposure. You could do that, and everything else that you do without on mainstream media outlets without being adversely affected. Very, very, very important. So definitely do that. Also, go to Prosperity Mint, everyone. Now is the time to start to acquire the precious metals. Very, very, very important because of what's going on in the world. You need to do that. Go to www.prosperitymint, PROSPERITYMINT.com, Prosperity Mint. And make sure that you save as a king and a queen and as a lady and a gentleman. Don't save as the system pays you as a slave in cash. Don't do that. Okay, so a couple of things before we get started. We're going to start, if you would like to be a part of the overall precious metals and preparedness classes, we are going to start those next Wednesday right here. So what you have to do is just reach out to us. Email me at wolf6pack1@gmail.com or text me at 951-790-8330. It's going to be $40 a month, and we're going to be giving you the precious metals and the preparedness classes. We're going to be doing the preparedness classes first because that's very, very important, but we'll be commingling them together from time to time. So engage in that, $40 a month. And also, if you would like to have the precious metals class, the expedient precious metals class, that is actually $400 for each class. There's 4 classes. You could do that with us as well. It's the same thing. Just text me if you are engaged in, and if you'd like to engage in that. So next Wednesday, we're going to start the precious metals classes. So sign up now just by texting me 951-790-8330, or you can email me at wolf6pack1@gmail, and that's $40 a month. We're going to get started next Wednesday, so looking forward to that. Also, let me before we do that, want to just say we're going to get into what's in the news, but let me just say this. I guess Scotty had it, and I saw some of it. Scotty was actually critical of the former celebrity figurehead, Barack Obama. Let me just say this. That shows how sincere this man is. It doesn't matter what the race is. See, if you are only going to support something based off of race and not look at it as the overall objective, have an objective opinion about it, then the problem is you. Always will be you with that type of mentality. And I guess there was some questioning Scotty's commitment to himself, his family, and our community. The very same person that has established Black Talk Radio Network. The very same person that is critical of anything that adversely affects the overall our community. And someone that it doesn't really matter. See, this is what the system has done. They've created great minions. Now, I don't know if the individual was a shill, or if the individual was just someone that is caught up in the overall belief of the system by having you respond a certain way because they've trained you to be that way. But let me tell you something about Scotty. Scotty doesn't care who you are. Scotty cares about what you're about. With me, one of the first things before we started Thando Radio Show, Scotty didn't care that I was black. Scotty didn't care about those superficial things. Scotty, first thing was questioning what was my intentions. Where was I going to be going with this show? And if you were someone that was black that was going to be exploiting our community, didn't want to have anything to do with you. Celebrity figurehead Barack Obama, just like the celebrity figurehead before him and the celebrity figurehead currently now. They don't care anything about you at all. They play their role. So to think, and one of the things that is so sincere is that Scotty and I were extremely critical of what celebrity figurehead Barack was doing, just as I was extremely critical of what Bush is doing, and I'm critical of what Trump is doing. Because if you are doing things that are going to cause for the displacement and the continuous subjugation and enslavement of the people, and particularly our people, because that's the preferred, one of the preferred methods right now to divide people, then you're the problem. And any person that would try to defend that is a problem. And any person that is ignorant enough to think that just because you were the celebrity figurehead and you were black, that every black person or any black person needs to be supporting you because of that. That individual is a very shallow individual that knows nothing about history. The only thing that they do is follow fads. And they follow the mainstream agenda on what the truth is. This is why those individuals always maintains and continues the problems that have plagued our community for many years. And that type of mentality is a mentality of destruction that was put into the system, and they fall in for the bait. And you have become what you had to endure. So, Scotty, my man, thank you for establishing Black Talk Radio Network. And I don't know the individuals that would feel to question that, to know who they are or what they're about. But I really don't need to know those individuals or what they're about. I know who you are, and I know what you're about. And I'm so pleased, and I appreciate you. And this is something that we're going to continue to grow together with those that have, and I know, and I'm speaking for many people that you have, because of this platform, you have changed their lives, you have changed their perspective, you have given them some historical truths, you have caused them to do the most important thing that I think that we can do, is to question and to look at ourselves for all the solutions, because the power of our will, free will, is the most powerful thing in the universe. So, brother, thank you for being a true brother. And I know that many people that listen to this network, they listen to this network because of you. Some may listen to Thando Radio Show, but you wouldn't be listening to Thando Radio Show without Scotty. And your commitment to yourself, your family, and our community is unquestionable, because you question the celebrity figurehead Barack Obama. Shallow thinking for those individuals that would even question. So, you know, some people are more mature. Some people are in a different position than others. We all used to be something, and we could have been something else, and we're not those things now. And those individuals, hopefully, they will see that to resonate in a more sincere, holistic way, that type of mentality and that type of energy only destroys them. And if we weren't on the air, I would say I would have some choice words. But we're on air. This is a family show. And I just want to say that, Scotty, I appreciate you so much. And I know every person, even those individuals that would question, I would say to those individuals, what platform have you dedicated your life to, your energy to, your overall currency and your money, and that money being your energy and your intrinsic value to, for the commitment and the development of our people, a true measure of love? Usually those type of individuals, that's all they do, is they sit behind a keyboard and become a keyboard gangster. So doesn't have any real effect for Black Talk Radio Network. This brother has established an icon. This brother has established one of the great media icons of this time. This is and is going to continue to be a storied network. And I'm so proud to be a part of it. And so I know everyone else that listens, and I took away from time on what's in the news, because you are and we are more important, because the solution to things that we need is going to resonate within us all. So I appreciate and I love you, Scotty. Looking forward to continue to grow this network, because we are behind enemy lines. And sometimes what they do is they try to infiltrate the camp to change the overall energy and the direction, because you're getting further, you're making headways, you're doing things that are relevant. You are significant. So you know that you are. And Strategic Melanin says, yes, thank you, King Scotty. I don't know what I would do without BTR, Black Talk Radio Community and Black Talk Radio Network.
Well, thank you, David.
Scotty said thank you.
Yeah, thank you, David, for that vote of confidence. And, you know, I know we can't get emotional, but I'm a human being. And when people attack me and make accusations that I hate the black community because I'm providing an objective analysis of political events, which in my opinion, politics make laws. That's how laws are made, and laws affect us, and we need to know what's going on, which is another reason why it was important to establish Thando Radio, so we would know what's coming and how to position ourselves so that we aren't so negatively impacted. And if I get all kind of hate from people who don't look like me, but when it comes from people who look like me, simply because I'm providing an objective analysis of a celebrity figurehead, as you call them, and I try to do like I learned from Malcolm X in trying to develop a worldview and a political maturity. It's just something that's very important to me.
So, and well said, Scotty, because that's really who we are and what we do. And you are one, which you've established is critical to our development. Now, all of our answers and solutions will come from one person. We don't need we don't need a leader to follow anyone. What we need to do is release the energy within us that solves every problem. And when we come together and we harness our talent like you have, like everyone that's here on this network has, like our listeners have, that's progress. Progress can never be made by following the overall rules, policies, procedures, and guidelines of the system that has been put in place to destroy you. And so this is what we do here at Black Talk Radio Network. And those individuals, even though they look like you, that's all that it is. They just happen to look like you. They have nothing to do with you at all. So, and we got to always remember that. So much love, much respect. And I know I'm speaking for many people that listen to our network, how important this network is. And it's okay, brother. And the thing is that I love that because, one thing with me, I don't care if people attack me. But when you attack people I love and I care about, I tend to have a problem with that. And so that's one of my flaws. That's really one of my flaws. So don't worry about it, Scotty. They ain't you. That's why they hate you. They can't do what you do. They don't have the overall capability of being objective past some small things, such as a black president. You really think you ever had a black president in this United States? You's a daggone fool. And I almost said something else. You really think you had a black president in this United States? You really think that you had a white president in this United States? What you really had was you had a representative that was upholding the trust and the foundation of the objectives to enslave massive amounts of people and steal their energy. But see, we become so naive and ignorant and stupid that we think it has everything to do with color. That's why you'll never win a damn battle. And you're always short on the wall. You're always short on the war. So, hey, I'm going to get off of it, and I'm going to jump into, because this is Wise Wednesday. This is not Monday or Tuesday or Thursday or Friday. This is Wise Wednesday with Brother David. So I'm going to just jump into what's in the news. My man, Brother Roz, posted some great stuff from yesterday. Please check out that stuff. Because that's time that Roz takes out from his busy day to give some things for us to continue to move in a collective direction. So let me jump into a couple of things, and we're going to get to Brother Davis because we're already at the 5:30 mark. Okay, one of the articles I posted was North Korea media issues rare criticism of China over nuclear warnings. So China and North Korea are so-called at odds. You're right. Don't fall for it. It's a deception. Next article comes from the institution of. It's called don't worry about it. It's called the Super Cycle Ends, meaning the dollar. Really, really good article. Check that article out. Next article comes from, this is major, and we're going to probably talk about this tomorrow. Puerto Rico sued by a spat of creditors in the latest blow to teeter the island. And this was from Reuters. That was yesterday. Then today, Puerto Rico goes into full-blown bankruptcy. Puerto Rico turns to courts for debt protection. That means that Puerto Rico is bankrupt. That means your pension fund is bankrupt. It is all falling into place. That's a huge, huge article. Next article, check out the one that we post from the New York Post about Goldman Sachs rigging the treasury market. Then Rise posted from CBS News. Research used genetic engineering to eliminate HIV infections in mice. Next one from Business Insider. A huge crack. Rise posted this one. A huge crack in 1,000-foot thick Antarctic ice broken has taken an alarming turn. Check out that article. Next article, Rise posted from, this is dailymail.com. This is a UK publication. Blacks die 4 years earlier than whites. Check out that article. Very important. Check out this next one. We talked about this one as well, and Rise reposted it again. Trump says U.S. needs a good shutdown in September to fix this mess. And it's heads up, ladies and gentlemen, we've been trying to get everyone prepared for this, and that's what we continue to do. Next one, Rise posted this one from Liberty headlines. DNC admits Democratic presidential primaries were rigged. So everything was rigged. This is why, and then people want to fight. People want to attack Scotty, and they believe this. Oh my goodness, I can't talk because I say some things, and this is not the appropriate place to say that. Next article from my man Raj from Time. The weird way antibiotics may affect your nutrition. Boom! This is one you cannot not pass up. Great article, Raj. Next article from Raj. Why should you care about the house's overtime pay bill? Now, check out that article. Next one from Reuters. Raj put this one in. Pensions reform vote clouds outlook for Brazil's currency. Next article from CNN Money. Raj posted this one. Cerebrally naive money. Chinese firm becomes Deutsche Bank's biggest shareholder. This is huge. It's all falling apart, ladies and gentlemen. Your way of life is about to be totally annihilated. A couple of more very, very important ones before we get to Brother Davis. I'm going to jump in with Brother Davis. Next one from Roz. Roz posted this one as well. Oh, man, it went dark on me. Okay, here it is. Why you – come on now. 1 second. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Roz, this is from Harvard Business Review. Why you really need to stop using public Wi-Fi. Check out that article. Very, very important article. Great articles by Roz. Check out the ones he posted yesterday as well. Next article, I posted this one from the South China Morning Post. Here it comes. No more easy money. China's central banks put the squeeze on liquidity. We got to talk about this later on. Next one from Russia Insider. I posted this one. Hillary says Trump's Syria tomahawking didn't cause World War III with Russia. Hillary said this. Next article from this is Korean Time. China urges citizens in North Korea to return home. Next one from Korean Time. China issues last warning to North Korea over nukes. China social media. So that's what's in the news. And we have Brother Davis in queue. And I'm towards the end of the show. I'm going to be I'm actually going to be traveling a little. So I'm going to be monitoring the board up until then. So give us a call, 866-510-9025, 866-510-9025. Brother Davis is there. Brother Davis, if you would unmute yourself, we're ready for you on Wise Wednesday. And at any time, if you call in, make sure you just, if I miss you, hey, Brother Dave, 1 second. If I miss you, make sure you just say, excuse me, if you have a question or comment for Brother Davis. Brother Davis, welcome, and thank you once again for doing Wise Wednesdays, my friend, my brother, and I really, really do appreciate you.
No brother, I'm going to tell you, it's a joy for me to have the opportunity to come before our brothers and sisters and offer whatever services I can. It's a great, great blessing to me. I also want to add into this, for those people who think a little bit contrary to what was said earlier, compare anything that President Obama has done in office that will make a greater and a more positive impact than Black Talk Radio. And you will answer your own question. Brother Davis, getting right to the point, tonight we're going to go back on the concept of being in a sinking place. Now, the reason being is because a lot of times we fail to realize the importance of being able to analyze where we are so that we can structure a plan to escape out of it. Now, when I say escape out of it, I'm not saying that you will be relieved of that circumstance, because a lot of these things are brought on by emotion, they're brought on by environment, they're brought on by people, they're brought on by subjectivity. So literally, each one of these states are constantly changing. We're talking about the states that literally you can see where you can work to your advantage and how to achieve that. And that is one of the reasons why I spoke to you about the three minds of consciousness: the dullness of mind, the agitationness of mind, and the lucidity of mind. And the reason being is because all of these things are functioning simultaneously with every transition you go through. Now, we are blessed to be able to understand the purpose behind them. So let me give you a quick understanding so that we won't get caught up in not being able to identify. In a dullness state, the delusion brought on by mental agitation has deepened so far that there is a lashing out, a desire for destruction of the environment as well as self-destruction. Thus, this state implies intensified anger, hatred, as well as laziness, sleeplessness, inertness, idleness, shiftlessness, slouthness, and sluggishness. Now, when I say that, I'm speaking of just that one state. So that if you are in that state about a given problem, these are all the things that may be attacking you, or either one of these things may be spearheading the attack on you that keeps you into that sunken state. And what is unique about it is the next state of agitation. Because in the state of agitation, there are thoughts that are coming and going that really bear no real fruit for you in that given situation. There are environmental changes that really are adding confusion to you being in that situation. And there may even be people, personalities, and emotions that move in and out of your thought process. That's why it's called an agitated state. And see, when you can start identifying these things, then you can work to get yourself to a point where you are in a lucid state. Now, the lucid state is not as common as the first two. Why? Because you have to be able to control a certain degree of your thought process in order to put your plan together. And that's why we must be able to identify them as we move in our environments, as we move into our mental thoughts, because you have to understand, a person who's thinking negatively all the time are building up bridges between the antagonism of their thoughts and the result. So if that antagonism is a dislike, if that antagonism is a hatred based on someone's opinion, if that antagonism is keeping you from moving forward based on what you heard, how you feel, or what you see, then you're literally allowing it to be in control. And this is where you really have to be able to sit down and function for self. Because when you don't, you just stay right there. See, when you function for yourself, you step into a lucid state, and your first stage of a lucid state should be to be quiet, to find a quiet place so that you can cut as much of that stuff off on the exterior as possible. Because now you're focusing on your interior. And these are the areas in which you must learn to be able to control. so that once you be able to control that, you can organize. And as you organize, you can separate things by their priority in your thought process. So say there's something that happens to you, and that it triggers you. It triggers you with an anger outburst or whatever. And you sit down and you begin to realize, that ain't really what I wanted to do. And you analyze, and, I didn't get the result that I wanted. See, now you are leaving that state of dullness into a state of lucidity. And the reason being is because now you are doing what we should all do, which is self-evaluation. A lot of people don't like self-evaluation because literally it makes them identify what they could have done different to work to their advantage. And in states of consciousness, we should always be trying to work things to our advantage and purposely to not hurt others. Why do I say that? Because when you hurt others, you go back into you're triggering your karma. And you want to build positive aspects and aspirations in that level, in the area of karma, so that you can have a greater control of each one of these states, regardless of the problem or the purpose or the subjectiveness that you've gone through to put you in that state.
Brother Davis.
One of the best parts. Yes, Brother Scotty.
I have a question. I don't mean to interrupt you. I have a question about the lucid state. As I try to relate my experiences to you, how does that relate to what people call lucid dreams? Because when I was, I would say in my teens, I started trying to control my dreams. And that was before I found out, that there was a term for that. They call it being lucid while you're dreaming. And like, for example, last night I was having a very pleasant dream and something woke me up out of that dream. And I didn't want to leave that dream. And so I put into my mind as I was going back to sleep that I'm going to return to that dream where I left off. And do you know I actually was able to accomplish that? So how does that translate to when we're awoke, when we're awakened and not sleeping? Do you follow me?
Oh, absolutely. I follow you, brother, because I have been there myself. And many that have heard you have been there. But let me explain that to you in a more area of clarity. In your lucid state, you were so determined that you allowed your will to cooperate with your dreams. You see, when people go into a dream state, they have no will. And understand how I said that, because you never get to you ever have a dream where you're just falling and you just want to do something but you can't do nothing but you're falling? Because that dream state is real to you at that point. And there are some schools of thought that will tell you that your real truth is in a dream state or a state of what they call trance meditation. And the reason they say that is because it's a trance that you put yourself in through meditation. It's the closest you can get to your dream state, but here's the power of it. In going into your dream state, you allowed your will to move you back to that point in your dream where you could pick up on it, because your will wanted that. You see, if you would have just went back to sleep for rest, then your will would not have taken control. But there was something that was drawing you back to want to go there and revisit it. So your will opened that door. And understand this, once it opened that door, you literally had lost control of your will. You know why? Because now you were back where you wanted to be. So the will literally served your purpose. But now the difference, when you are in a mediumistic state of travel, your will is with you. You see, when you go into a mediumistic trance, it's your will that is purposefully allowing your body to cooperate, because you're thinking to yourself, let me relax. Let me clear everything out of my mind. See, you're operating to get to a certain place. You don't have that with dreams. In other words, you can't pick and select your dreams, but you can enjoy them because it is a part of your reality. And once again, there are schools of thought that literally think that teach that your dream state is more of a reality than your external state, or your walking state, okay? And the reason being is because you can do things through your dream state, which a metaphysical trance is a similar state, but you have control. You see the difference? So literally all you were doing were operating in the content of your spirit. And here's what's so unique about that, Scotty. Because you identified with it so clearly, you can very easily take yourself into different states with a little bit of understanding and balance on how to be able to induce that meditation, how to be able to open that door so that when you're in that state of meditation, you can implant what you're trying to do in your subconscious so that it comes out in your conscious. That's a powerful place to be, brother, but that is exactly what you did. So I'm glad you brought that out, because literally that shows people the other side. See, that's the internal side. We're talking about how the external affects the internal. So when people allow things outside of them to disturb them, they can only do it through one of these three forms. And when they do it through these three forms, if we evaluate, we can determine what happened, how it happened, what you did that you might have done differently if you had the perceptiveness to be able to see it, develop, and the result of what happens through your own evaluation, so that if these things begin to happen again, you'll be perceptive enough to pick up on them and be able to deal with it differently. See, that's what makes being in a metaphysical trance so powerful. You take that information and plant it into your subconscious, and it comes out in your conscious. See, that's why I was telling people back not too long ago, and about 2 or 3 months ago on the show, that we have to dump all of this waste that we've been taught out of our systems, and we got to replace it with positive stuff so that that positive stuff can come alive in our life. And I was telling them at the time, what I do is when I go into my metaphysical state, I recite the 42 principles of my art. That way, I'm not only beginning to memorize them, but I'm transplanting them in a conscious place so that they can come out in a subconscious place so they can come out in my conscious person in my daily activity. And see, these are keys to opening us up to our higher self. Because, see, what they don't want you to know is there's no limit to your higher self. See, they'll tell you, according to the laws, what you can and cannot do. But we're not talking about man's laws. See, when we start stepping in and growing and being able to identify and be able to apply what we identify to not only help us, but our environment and other people, we constantly add to ourselves so that we literally raise to higher levels in our conscious life because of what we're doing in our subconscious life. And the best part about it is that the greatest fear that they have, and when I say they, I mean people who are not able to tap in on a spiritual level the way you can. All right, now let me make very clear. The reason why that is because being melanated, you absorb all of the natural resources that are set upon you as a battery. When you feel the sun on you, the reason why you burn less, and you do burn, a lot of people say, oh, black people don't burn. Yes, they do. The reason why you don't burn less is because your skin is designed to absorb that sunlight and turn that sunlight into an energy. And that energy is given the name, it's called qi in China. It's called qi in Chinese. You see what I'm saying? And these, and women, and well, we have been taught it's life force. But literally, that's a whole new world that we haven't been exposed to. So I can tell you what I do in my life force and how I control my life force, but then I have to also tell you that you're responsible for nourishing that life force. So that when you go outside every day and you feel that, you've been able to feel the sun just feels so good, you want to stand there. Well, there are people who are gazers. And what they do is they absorb that sun's energy, they internalize that energy so that they can disperse it through the areas of the body in which they need it and apply it externally when people don't even know it. So we are remarkable beings. It's that we are caught in a state of Westernism that doesn't allow us to open these doors and let you do it ourselves. And when we do, the benefits far outweigh the costs. And the reason being is because they want you to think, oh, this is going to kill you. That's going to hurt you. You will lose control. You are psychologically, these are their tools. But when you operate in them, you can begin to understand the purpose of what the universal connection is. Why food was brought to earth as vegetables. The reason why I say food was brought to earth as vegetables is because a lot of people fail to realize that you have a habit, because of Westernism, of eating stuff that will kill you. They like it. But here's what's so unique about that is that as you begin to wake up and information begins to come to you and you begin to apply that information, literally your body is rejoicing. And the more you properly apply it, the more your body rejoices. So on that note, if you go to Netflix has a series of about 5 documentary videos on food, on life sustainability, on health, on diseases, physical diseases in the body, and they are starting to open the door of the true knowledge of why these things are being kept from you. And there's another documentary on there called Cow Conspiracy. And when you go there, you must watch Cow Conspiracy, because then it will start putting a lot of these here puzzle pieces in the proper place, and you'll say, that's why. See, I could tell you the concept of Barack Obama came up earlier today. Barack Obama did nothing in that position that he had that really served our purpose as a people. Now, some people get angry, but understand what I said when I first came on. Scotty established a way for us to be able to have a medium so that we can not only get information, we could disseminate the information that we get, as well as be able to go out and grow and seek other sources so that we can come back and add more information. President Obama has done nothing like that. You know what did they tell you? They tell you he bought you a health care, but what he did was he bought a national health care to people, and the only people who really benefited by that national health care is the people who submitted to the rules. But the rules were so rigid because it was designed by the people who were benefiting by you following the rules. So when you say, well, I got health care, that's why you know what they did? They keyed it. They called it Obamacare. And before you know it, everybody was saying, everybody in the Republican Party was saying, we want to get rid of Obamacare. But, you know, that's really not the name of it. The name of it, it skips my mind right now, but it had to do with helping people in their health circumstance. They changed it to Obamacare so that they can change your perception of what the true identity of it did. So those people who literally was the best depending on Obamacare that voted for Trump didn't realize that they were undercutting their own needs. But that is what's called the propagandization of a subject. Okay? That's what Scotty went through today. Somebody's propagandization of the subject, Scotty, was based on what they are trying to project. It's not based on truth. And see, the sad part about it is that the weak-minded some weak minds may find agreement with that because they haven't done no their research. See, understand about a dull state. A dull state means that you're sloth, you're lazy, you really are not doing what is required for you to grow. And you could literally see a glass of water in front of you and be thirsty, and you'll be asking yourself, do I want to do this now, or should I wait till later? Well, you know you're thirsty. So do you understand the concept that are working here? These are programs placed in our psyche by Westernism for control. So we got to learn.
Brother,
go ahead, brother.
Yeah, you got a question from the chat, but the real name is the Affordable Care.
Obamacare.
The Affordable Care Act.
That's right, the Affordable Care Act.
Right.
That's what it was.
And here's something
ahead,
here's something about it before I ask the question from Strategic Melanin. I kind of compare it to a predatory home loan. For those people have ever heard of balloon payments? That's when you get a mortgage with no money down, and it has a low payment for a certain set period of time. And after that period is up, what you were paying, your monthly payment, escalates. So that's why they call it a balloon payments. From what I've heard, because I don't have the Affordable Care Act, being a veteran, I have the VA health care, so I wasn't required to enroll in that. So that's how I liken it to. But here's the question from Strategic Melanin. She says, I never dream anymore. What does that mean?
Excellent question. The reason why you don't dream may be because you have a psychological blockage. Now, what is a psychological blockage? It may be something you can control and don't realize it, or it may be something you have no control over and you submit it to it. But here's the power of having a human body. Just like you can go out and do things like physical exercise and build your body up and eat right and build your body up, you can break down those areas of blockages by using, if you're an artist, you'd ever notice how they do beautiful things out of nothing? That's their imagination. And their imagination may see a piece of wood, and in that piece of wood, they may see a carved butterfly. And by the time they paint it, you would have to really look close to even notice if it's a piece of wood. You see, that is what makes the imagination so purposeful. And when you feel that you're at a stage where you cannot dream, that is really when you should really focus on meditation. Because I'm going to tell you, meditation allows you to go so deep in yourself that you can force those things out of you that are hindering you. You see, that's another unique thing in this body. There's so much I really want to expand on, but I'm not, because there's so many people who really can't grasp as much as I'd like to give you in a short period of time. So I got to stay on topic. But Sister Melanie, let me tell you this. If you just take 15 minutes a day on you, turn off everything, don't say nothing, clear your mind, don't even think, just practice that. Then your imagination will really start to open up. And the reason being is because it's going to let your body know that you can do this. That's why programs are so important in Westernism, because as long as you're following the program and jumping from hoop to hoop to hoop to hoop to hoop, they're in control. But when you stop and you slow down and you cut all of that off, you're taking your control back. And everything will return, and your power that you've already have been focusing on, because I've seen some of your Facebook and stuff, you write material and stuff. So I know that you're a growth person. It's just that you haven't seen this side until you open the door. Because, see, that's what meditation does and dreams do. They open doors. But now understand the difference. In a dream, you have no will. You can will yourself back to a dream, and sometimes you can even will yourself out of a dream. But in meditation, it is your will that stays intact. So, yes, sister, please try, get back to me. I'll be glad to help you wherever I can, because I'm going to tell you something. I've heard of this here with many other people before, and it has a lot to do with what Westernism has done to us psychologically. But I'm going to tell you something. You can open that door and set yourself free in many areas. Whether you're a musician, you're an artist, you might just be a good orator on different points of issue. But those things all come alive. And this is what is important about understanding the 3 stages of consciousness in a conscious body. And the reason why I say conscious body is because when you walk the streets out here, that's a walking consciousness too. And that is the consciousness that shows outwardly. The subconsciousness is what we have the opportunity to work and manipulate and grow through. And the reason why I say work and manipulate, because a lot of people don't understand that you have a self, and then you have what's called a spiritual self or a real self. But until you can be able to get to a point where you can identify that you can move in those areas, you can't see that. And then you look at all of the different things that are trying to defeat that. You have religion trying to defeat that. You got economic problems trying to defeat that. You just literally feeding your family is trying to defeat that. And at every one of those levels, you're being attacked. And you're being attacked by a system that doesn't want you to achieve that certain degree of should I say, your real self. Because your real self begins to experience life on an entirely different level. I mean, you may have in your family, and this is just not you, it's everybody. You may have a special talent in your family, but never been able to tap into it because you was never able to reach that level of exposure. You see, your DNA wants to tell you things, but it ain't going to tell you things that you can't really operate in because it would really bring no fruit. You want fruit, and the universe wants you to have the fruit, but the fruit that you may not be getting may be in your DNA. You might be psychic and not know it because you haven't tapped into that. You may be have telekinesis. You may be a levitator because, see, a lot of people don't want to get back to the reality, but in truth, in Egypt, the only way they could build those pyramids was through levitation. There was nobody picking a straw enough to pick up them big rocks. They didn't have the uniqueness of being able to design stones to fit a pyramid so perfectly that right now, to this day, they don't know how they did it. So I'm telling you, all of these talents are within us. But until we can elevate ourselves again to a state in which we can at least open the door, then they'll never be exposed to us. So let me get back to, I hope that answered your question. And listen, anybody, if I'm on tonight, please call in. Because, see, just like I could take the time and point her in a direction that she could at least start tapping into, as she begins to grow, believe me, she will be a greater tool for the universe. Because you know what? She's going to say, you know what? I was there, but this is what I did. And this is what happened to me. And that's how the life works. When people tell you things in a one-to-one situation, you are more subject to gravitate to it than being advertised to. But they do know advertising work. That's why you can't, if you look at that television, it's giving you advertisements around the clock, even at night at times or during the day, they got infomercials and stuff that don't do nothing but focus on advertisement. But if you turn that stuff off and you just sit quietly and you listen to yourself, you open a door. And that door that you open is to you, not to anything else. Don't look around the kitchen and look at things to do, especially women. Women are so focused on what I need to do this, I need to do that, because Westernism wants you constantly functioning like that, because that way you're easier to manipulate. They could tell you, oh, you're lonely, and if you don't have company, you could literally feel lonely. And really, you may be a reader and a good food may be all the comfort you need. See what I'm saying? But they put these things out there so that it's like catching a fish. Sooner or later, they're going to get someone to bite, and all of a sudden, when one goes, they got a friend. Before they know it, they got a flock of fish. And these are the things that we must control ourselves so that don't happen.
Brother
One
Davis,
of the main things that, yes, Brother Scotty, go ahead.
Do you know, just over the weekend, one of my daughters accused me of having no life because I do not like leaving. It's not that I don't like leaving the house. It's that I don't leave the house unless I have to. And I'm a long ways from when I was her age, where I wanted to be out there just going. But she accused me of not having a life. And I was like, I'm perfectly content with my life.
You know what, Scotty? What it is that you have elevated. You see, we grow in stages. And when you get to a certain stage and you take on, well, perfect example is Black Talk Radio. The elevation that it took, the dedication that it took, what you surrendered to get there entitles you to be purposeful with every moment of your life. If you feel that you're more comfortable in your kingdom, people are only looking from the outside in. They're not looking from the inside out. So I understand what you're saying. But she'll grow. And Scotty, you know what? She doesn't notice, but she'll grow to that too. Because we follow our examples. We may not think so, and I hear my children say this all the time. But Daddy, I'm not a thinker like you, but you read a lot. Yeah, well, I enjoy reading. Well, how did you learn to read? Well, I used to see you reading. I mean, you read newspapers and you read books all the time, and I guess I just gravitated that way. You followed your example. You see what I'm saying? So that happens, and that's a part of what's called the universal order. So let her go through her thing now, because guess what? One day you're going to ease up on her and say, oh, you staying in. And you know what? She might have found a good book. She might have found a project she wouldn't have focused on. Other things become priorities as time moves on. I hope that answered your question, brother.
Yes.
Look, let me give. Okay, excellent. Thank you, man. Please do call in, because I'm gonna tell you something. There's a lot of things I'm trying to give you quickly. I told you about the Netflix documentaries. Do check those out, because literally they talk about the plethora of the puzzle that as you watch it, you can say, oh wow, that's why that's happened, and you keep going on. Okay, it's coming up on a break. So this is Brother Davis. I'll be right at you back after the break.
Okay.
Black Talk Radio since 2008, providing new black media for the masses.
Welcome back. I'm going to tell you, over the break, I was sitting here thinking, how can I be able to help people identify the true purpose of being able to control themselves? And you heard me speak about the emotion when you're confronted, and how if you stay in a lucid state, you're always thinking in your best interest. When you allow emotion to get involved, all of a sudden you lose control of your control of the circumstance. And you will leave yourself up for interpretation. So whether they're not interpreting you as much as they're interpreting your emotion, so they interpret it the way they want to see it. And see, that's one of the reasons that a lot of our young brothers are out here in the street, because the society is not giving them the basic tools that we used to be able to give to them. And the reason they're not is because you heard Scotty talk about the prison industrial complex. They feed that system. That's a corporate system in America. So, therefore, they want to be able to benefit by those young youth who don't understand the importance of controlling thyself. Because you only begin to know thyself when you can control thyself. And the sad part about it is, we lose many of them behind frivolous things that they are mentally beyond, but got caught in the circumstance. Now, literally, we have become the victims of such a depressed white system. And the reason why I say it's depressed is because this system now has taken on a do-or-die circumstance, because it is dying. It's being attacked on every level, just like it's been destructive. Now that's coming back to them. But here's the catch. They're coming back to them in a way they didn't suspect. You see, with all this your finances going around, the reason why they're being under attack is because they attacked other people for so long. So when they thought they were on top of the world because they were in a petrodollar position, then people started undermining them and buying gold and then organizing their gold. See, this is why they're getting ready to go to war based on the fact that they are losing control. And when they lose this war, it's going to be a unique circumstance. Why? Because China's in a power position. Russia's in a power position. But see, people don't want you to hear the truth. The reason why is because then you'll realize how, should I say, how outrageous they have become. And when you realize how outrageous they have become, then you begin to really see them in a much clearer light. You already know by the way they treat you, they're your enemy. But they have become the enemy of the world now. And if you listen, you've heard some things, some signals directly to you. Because no other country, I think about 4 or 5 months ago, China literally put out a press release that said China did DNA investigation back as far as they can go, and their origin goes back to Africa. Do you realize the power of that statement? No one else, no other country wanted to follow that up, but they did that for a reason. Because they're trying to build what's called an unbreakable circumstance. And that circumstance has been already made clear. Because all of the countries, all humanity stems from Africa. And when they do their DNA, they know that. They just don't want you to know that. I just want to throw that in there as a caveat. All right, getting back to the psychological imbalances that Westernism causes on us as a people that allows us to be able to be triggered in every area of our lives. And if we do not understand these forms of consciousness, of walking consciousness, we become victimized by Westernism based on their ability to manipulate us. And they have become exceptional manipulators. So we have to gravitate not only to each other, but to open the door of understanding so that we can talk about it. What happened to you in this situation? This is what I did. Do you realize if you evaluated yourself every day and you made a small improvement, you will change yourself every week to be not only better, not only to be more observant, but you will change yourself in ways that you would not be able to imagine because your mind has been so contained by Westernism. Now, all of that stuff that you learn in school and that sort of thing, they can be a tool to some degree, but most of it you'll never need. Think about it. Most of it you will never need. Now, here's the sad part. When you get to dumping yourself, you got to dump a lot of that stuff because now you need that room to make better you, the better you, by putting in the positive stuff. You're putting in a knowledge of your history. You're putting in a knowledge of your family tree. You're putting in a knowledge of how to grow to the real self or the spiritual self level. Because here, our bodies are designed around our energy. This is just a shell. Now, this shell was designed, and you might have heard me say this before, so that we can fit in this complex area called time and space. Because if our bodies didn't have this shell, we would take on an etheric nature. Now, an etheric nature is your energy outside of the body. Do you still have consciousness? Absolutely. Is your consciousness like it is now? Absolutely not. Because you have evolved to a higher state. You see, that's why they teach you things like good and bad, evil and love. Do you realize that that thing that you covet so much called love is only harmony? Because in the world of the universe, those things that they've complicated are really very simplistic. And they want to complicate them because it makes it harder for you to do due diligence and open up your area of simplicity. See, when you talk to yourself, They want you to think, oh, you're psychologically imbalanced. But no, you're not. I do it all the time. I may not do it out loud, and sometimes I do it out loud. Because it helps me put my priorities in order. It helps me put my vision at a level where I can start applying in those areas I need. Right now, in my family, you've heard me talk about we're putting together an organic farm. Well, that was a process. And each part of that process required it to be a vision so it can come to be. And I'm going to tell you, I'm so pleased. When I go down there now, I literally stand quietly on the porch and I let nature talk to me. I listen to the birds. I listen to the bees. I listen to the water. I listen to the grass grow. I listen to me breathe in harmony, the wind. Because these are the simple things that we were given to freely operate in before all of this confusion. And that's what it is. It's designed so we do not return to who we are. But believe me, and I don't know if I mentioned to you, but me and my wife, we're coming off the road eventually. And eventually it's moving quicker, closer, should I say it's moving closer, quicker. But because now we want to enjoy the next stage of our building, okay? We as a people never stop having the vision to grow. And even when you achieve a certain level of your vision, it expands itself because we never stop growing. See, there was never a thing called retirement in our village. Oh, we took care of the elders as they age, but we also sat at their feet so that we could hear how it was when they were children, so that we could attach ourselves to the secrets that might be within the DNA that could be verbally given to us by those who had reached 100 years old, who could tell us about the days when air had no carcinogenics. Because those things only happened over the last 110 years. Believe me, we are so unique in so many ways. So, in understanding these three levels of consciousness, we have to be able to operate ourselves so that we still do things to our best interest. What are things to our best interest? Well, one of the things are food, examining our food. You see, then all we had to do was grow it, pick it, cook it, and eat it. And a lot of times we didn't even cook it because that was the nature of things then. But here's what's so unique about that. It was more nutritious for us before when we didn't cook it than it is now that we do. The simplicity always returns. When we have our conversations with ourselves, when we say our prayer and have that time to talk to that creator, and you speak about what it is that you want, you're telling the universe, the cosmic forces, this is what I want to achieve. This is how I'm going to go about it. And the forces, if your karma is right, and your diet is right, and your body is developing accordingly, all of these things are pluses for you to achieve that you set out for. Me and my wife, we operate in it all the time. Let me make something very clear. She's a different personality than me. So we don't always see eye to eye. But as long as we can sit down and converse, I'll get a clearer vision of her idea. She gets a clearer vision of my idea. And before we know it, we find these ideas can literally blend themselves. And she operates in what she's doing. And the best part about that is that I can enjoy that. Now, what do I mean? Okay, she likes to sew. She likes to spend time with the children. She likes to do things with herbs and spices. And she grows, when we're home, she grows a lot of different herbs outside, and she makes elixirs. And, by the time I get it, it's like, here, taste this. Then she informs me of what it is and why she put it together that way and what the herbs do to your body. You see, we are so unique in so many ways, but we have not been able to identify that because we have been put under a pressure cooker called Westernism. And we have to literally break that. And as we begin to develop, we will break it without even fighting it because it's fighting itself now. And if we sit back, sure, I'm going to tell you now, they're going to try to take as many of us out as possible. But they can't take us all. And here, I say that with a full heart. Why do I say it with a full heart? Because not all of us will be able to live as we once knew living to be. And you know, some people think that after the transformation, when you reach a state of your spiritual self, you can be more of a tool to people here because then they will begin to be able to identify with the purpose of being able to do the right things in order to communicate with our spiritual side. So whenever you think that you're at a point where you just can't move, you think of the three walking consciousnesses. And then you evaluate which one you're in so that you could say, and that way you can start to see your way out. And when you start seeing your way out, it's going to be hard because we're bombarded every day. We don't listen. I don't get a free moment unless I take one. And there are times when my wife will just say, look, you just slow down. Just stop. Because she might see something that I'm going through that I don't see it. But to her, it's an alert. And see, we have to pay attention to these things because our bodies are designed literally to last well over 100 years. It's our bad habits that destroy our bodies. And that's why I say about food and eating, it can be a good habit and if we keep it simplistic. But when we get to thinking about taste and desires, these things are out of control. And that's where we lose who we are as self because now we're following those things that we ought to be controlling. But that's what the system wants you to do. They want you to get so upset about that pair of shoes because you can't buy them right now the way you want to, that when you come back 2 days later and somebody bought them, you get upset. But it's only shoes. See what I'm saying? The system constantly is working on us so that we do not do the work to become better. When you do, you can literally change things. I talk to my water. I want to be quenched today. I want to be able to move forward. I want to be a strong representative of what a man should be. I want to be one of the people who, when they see me, they see the spirit of my art and my actions. And then when I drink my water, these things start to come alive in me. This is not exclusive to me. Let me make that very clear. Every one of us possess these unique skills that could literally transform us to a greater person. And this is why I take my time with my children, my grandchildren, my friends, and Thando Radio. Because it all adds to me to be a better person. And if you apply any of the things that we talked about, the transformation happens to you too. Now we're still going to be, remember, we're still behind enemy lines. And we cannot never take that lightly. Because when we take it lightly, then we'll be tested. And I'm going to tell you, in this truck, I'm tested all the time. And the reason why I'm tested is because I don't know who these people in the environments I'm in. I don't know what their frame of mind is. You know, the other day, right up here where we are in Chicago, somebody rode by a truck, pulled out a gun, shot in the truck 3 times. The driver was able to get off the road, but he died at the hospital. You understand the dynamics I'm saying here? Now, what happens is that I'm operating in the aspect of my control in the universe, and I'm telling the universe to tap into all of the levels of my spiritual self and give me the gift to return home. That's all. And guess what? Every time me and my wife get that downtime and we're home and we're around our children, it's glorious. Sometimes we ain't got to be around our children. Sometimes all we got to do is be together in a quiet place, maybe have dinner or something. And I'm going to tell you something. It's so unique, the joy of simplicity. But when we return to that, we can tap into the other things a lot easier. But when you sit down and you get ready to eat, think about the meal. Think about once you eat it, what happens. See, when you start doing this, you start making time for yourself. And when you start making time for yourself, you become your priority and you see yourself much clearer. And there's going to be a whole lot of things that come at you from everything from your job to your religion to your friends. They're all going to see a difference. Some of them aren't really going to want you to develop into a higher self. Because you know what? You might say, oh, you know what? I don't really feel up to the clubs anymore. I'm not into that. I want to find something that's going to help me grow as a person. But some people aren't going to like that. That's just the nature of human. When you are human, you find yourself being victimized by many things. And one of the things you find yourself being victimized by is the fact that you are starting to change. And regardless of what happens in the environment around you, you're doing something that benefits you. And if it benefits you, then you're stepping off in the right direction. Never allow someone to tell you that they know what's better for you than you do. People do it every day. You see them go to a medical doctor. Oh, I had this pain in my back. You know what he says? Well, here, let me give you something for the pain. He never says, well, let's see where it comes from. Let's see what started that. Because when you get to the source of the pain, you may be able to eliminate it ever returning. You see the simplicity of the dynamic here? Because he's working for somebody. He's working for the pharmaceutical company who's going to give you a pill for that pain. And every time he gives you that pill, the pharmaceutical company's going to say, okay, good man, here you go, it's a couple of dollars for you. They don't tell you that, but that's how that system works. But when you take it upon yourself to say, now, what did I do today? How did I sleep? Did I sleep with a pillow under me in that area that kind of threw my spine out of whack? Because, see, these sort of things, they may not affect you when you get up, but later on that day, you feel that gnawing thing that you have. It's something that may be so simplistic that you can't see it. The sad part about it is that you have control. And when you take control...
Brother Davis.
Yes, go ahead, sister. Speak up.
Brother Davis, this is Doreen. You got a caller out of 315.
Okay, caller. What is your name?
315.
Hello. Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. About the dreams. I'm sorry to take you back there, but I had a reoccurring dream about someone being killed, and it actually happened. Now, is that, I don't know, I guess I don't have a question. I'm trying to get maybe some understanding as to why that happened.
But sister, really, it may not be about why. It may be about you being able to perceive something on a level that you can identify you had the skill to. You understand how I said that? Because, see, we're taught that we can't do these things. But the reason why they tell you can is because if you do, they have no control over you. That's what they want. So, although, was that just one time, or does that happen consistently?
Well,
these are
it happened a few times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you say it happened a few times, you mean the dream happened a few times, or it happened a few times involving different people?
Different people.
Well, then that might be something that is within your DNA that you have not tapped into yet, that is trying to alert you that it's there. And you might only see it from that perspective of people dying. But what if it's really trying to tell you if you open that door, you have a gift to be able to change those circumstances? Let me ask you this. Do you meditate at all?
I haven't in a long time. No.
Then examine yourself, examine you. And the reason why I tell people try meditating first is because a lot of times people pray and they don't realize 2 days later what they prayed for when they prayed. But when you go into a state of meditation, you can identify when you're moving in a deeper state. When your thought process, which used to be a bunch of things going through your mind, you're beginning to be able to slow them down. When your breathing becomes so clear and so natural that when you start out focusing on it, that all of a sudden the true simplicity of what you're trying to do takes over, and you can move forward in that trans state and investigate yourself on a different level. Because in reality, that may be one of your DNA's gifts. There are seers. I'm not saying you're a seer. Let me make that very clear. But seeing is a gift. And a lot of times, that may lead you into other areas. But don't just cut it off. I would examine it closer. I would put my priorities in reference to what it is I learned about myself, and I'll evaluate my growth in it. And that way you begin to, you can write them down. Always, if you're not sure if you can keep it in your conscious, write them down. And then when you write them down, when you read them over, then what you're doing is you're putting new, you're replacing the waste that is in your subconscious with knowledge that is in your conscious. And who knows what you may be waking up that is a part of your DNA that you don't even realize is there. And see, these are the things that we need to do now because a lot of people are waking up. But there's a lot of things holding them back. And one of the things that's holding them back, and some people are going to get upset about this, but religiosity is not a universal form. Spirituality is a universal form. So if you burden yourself with religiosity, you're smothering your spirituality. Keep that in mind for all those that are listening, because I'm not discouraging you from doing what you do, but when you start to examining yourself, you're going to find out that as you begin to grow, the philosophies that you are starting to take on to become more of self-aware are going to be contrary to your religiosity, your religious philosophy. That's just the nature of things. But yeah, so to do examine yourself. What is your diet like?
Oh, not that great.
See, we all have work to do, though, sister. We all have work to do. But did you hear me speak about the Netflix documentaries?
I heard some of it. I was trying to catch it. I heard something about the cow. There was something on the cow.
Yes, it's called Cowspiracy. I don't really want to go into it, but if enough of you inquire about it, go watch it, and you want to open discussion about it, I'll open that door because we have to grow. And these are the things that they're using as tools against us from that. And the best part about it is when we do, and we can converse back and forth, guess what? There's a whole lot of people that have the same questions that you got because they might have watched the documentaries too. And it's not just one. It's about 4 or 5 of them. And the reason why I say watch them all is because these are all pieces of the puzzle that you're going to say, wow, I did not know that. Many times you heard me say, one of the reasons why I don't eat meat is because the enzymes from the meat literally strangle the blood vessels in our body. And it's because that is how the systems of animals work. In other words, when they eat something, especially, take for instance like a cow. A cow is like a human. They got to grind their grass up. You see, a human should chew its food. Well, it's kind of like gnawing, like you see a cow gnawing on grass. That's how humans eat. But the grass already has a purpose inside the cow system. And so does other foods. But some foods don't. And therefore, when we decide to partake of those foods because of our desire or our desire for the taste, we become we take on the bad habit, which becomes destructive to our body. Let me stop there because I'm taking you into some of the areas that you're really going to want questions about later once you watch these videos. And it's another thing. These are political also because this is a part of the Western structure. But do those three things. First of all, examine yourself closely. Second of all, deal in dabbling with meditation. I'd say start at 15 minutes first so you get comfortable. Once you get comfortable, it's going to take over. That's what meditation does because it exposes things to you, and you're going to want to know more. Also, look at your diet closely. When you see these videos, you're going to have a greater understanding why I say look at your diet closer. Because in reality, a lot of times why we stun ourselves is because we're following a program. And it's going to tell you about the programs and how those programs are set on you by people who don't even care about you. That's one of the reasons why I really want people to open that door to Netflix and look at those documentaries. These aren't people that have done this for the purpose of me. They've done this here for the purpose of humanity because now they begin to realize that this thing called life is a game to a lot of people, and other people don't want to be in the game. They just want to be able to have the simplistic joys of living. And that's where we are. We just want the simplistic joys of living. We want to return to what our parents had. Did that answer your question at all, sister?
Yes, that is helpful. Thank you, Brother Davis.
Not a problem. Hey, call me anytime. Everybody, pick up your phones. We're going into the last break here shortly. So I want you to know that we're here for you. We'd like you to take the time, pick up the phone, give us a call. This is Brother Davis on a Wise Wednesday.
Make Black Talk Radio your choice for digital black radio. New black media for the new millennium.
Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I implore you to incorporate all of those things that are becoming questions in your mind. Incorporate them into your knowledge base. Why? Because when you do, you answer those questions. And sometimes the answers to those questions really frees you. And the reason why it frees you is because you begin to realize, I don't really have to do this, or I don't have to do that. And when you start that, then you're putting yourself as a priority. And when you put yourself as a priority, you begin to know you better. And look for like-minded people. There's many schools of philosophy out here that people are growing through, not only spiritually, but through their own self-awareness. And sometimes that might be something that is suitable to you. I know people who are into chakra growth and energy centers, and they serve a great purpose also. But until you open that door of knowledge, how can you understand what they call the Kundalini power is? And the Kundalini is just a name given for all your chakras firing on point in rhythm. And that power literally is another attribute of us as human, simple humans. Now, we could do a number of different things with it as we elevate ourselves to understand that we can control it. But a lot of people who if you notice, they want you to think that I'm in a state of fear. Let these things scare you and you won't tap into them. But if you tap into them, you'll find that they're not designed to fear you. I mean, they're not designed for you to fear them. They're designed for you to grow in a knowledge of them, because the world needs us. The universe needs us. We communicate when we just walk by each other. You ever had somebody walk by you, feel that their aura just rub up against you, and you didn't even touch them? That's the body's letting you know there is a force that you possess that you can operate in, but you don't give it the attention because Westernism teaches you to not be able to open the door to a greater understanding of self, because if you become a super person in an area they don't know, they have no control. And it's sad. It's sad for us to be victimized to that degree, but it's sad for them because now we're waking up. And as we begin to wake up and people begin to operate in these things, they have to understand one basic rule. And that basic rule is that you are not them. So you can't carry what they taught you into another spiritual level. You have to be open so that you can prepare yourself to be able to grow in that next spiritual level. That is why I use my art as the foundation of it's a tried and true method, one. It's also blessed me being able to think in terms of what my best interests are and how to get to them without hurting things or hurting people or hurting my environment. And I mean, I've been truly blessed. And I mean, when I say I've been blessed, I mean my family's been blessed. The people I'm around have been blessed. Thando Radio has been blessed. The people who listen has been blessed. You see, they want you to think that a blessing is only are blessed when you're
we lost Brother Davis. His line dropped off. There, we have him back. Brother Davis?
I apologize. I dropped off. Am I back on, Scotty?
Yes, you are.
Okay, great. So if you missed that last part, your blessings transcend you. And the best part about that is that as you move around, as you circulate, as you have children, all of these here begin to share in that joy. But they don't want you to be happy. The reason why they don't want you to be happy is because when you're happy, you're an open system, and all of these other blessings come to you. Perfect. My brother has this thing about, this is a side nugget. My brother has these things about bluebirds, okay? So down on the farm, there was an old birdhouse. He painted it blue. Do you know that there's a family of bluebirds in that house now? And he's seeing them everywhere. He likes the way they whistle. But that is just showing you how simplistic that we can live on without all of this other stuff that Westernism thinks makes us better. It doesn't. But they're trying to tell you, but it adds to your life. Well, it adds to all of the process that works for them. And if you don't believe it, when you get done watching those documentaries I told you about, you're going to say, wow, because now a lot more things become clearer now. And to see, I try to get people to understand that money is a tool. Because people they agonize over, well, I need money for this, and I need money for this, that, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. But it's a tool. If you do well by it, you can utilize it to your advantage. Don't obsess by it, because literally it runs out anyway. So if you don't obsess by it, you can learn to live in those periods where you don't have it. And if you do have the ability to have money or excesses of it, then you can literally help other people with it. Money is like everything else. If you learn how to use it, it doesn't have a problem finding its way to you. You see? And when you start literally giving in the right area, you hear us talk about Black Talk Radio. I freely get a Black Talk Radio. Matter of fact, when Scotty started going on search, I think I bought 3 or 4 of them off the top. Why? Because the money went with great cause. So, and now I regularly said every week I make a contribution, automatic contribution, because I understand not only the spirit and why he went out and coursed his life to bring us Black Talk Radio, but I see the result of his vision. And he's a visionary when it comes to getting black people to communicate about issues that the other medias will not bring forth. And he reminds us why when he says we are behind enemy lines. And we got to understand these things because they only make us stronger in being able to articulate our position. Because even if you're not sure how to say it, you know what you mean. So as you grow by listening, you begin to be able to articulate it better. Or as you grow by your own due diligence, you might be reading, you might be, it may come to you through conversation with other people, but you will grow. And these are the true blessings. I see people a lot of times are in line for that lottery, and, I used to do that too. Because we all have to grow. But when I begin to realize, my fortune isn't there. My fortune is understanding that I can do better, I can be better, and it doesn't require me to win the lottery. I know how to make silver jewelry if I needed to take that route. I could drive a truck if I wanted to take that route. Now I'm going to be a farmer. Y'all getting this? So there's opportunities that we can literally feed into ourselves when we start focusing on ourselves. But simultaneously, I still possess all of those other things. And you have these same skill sets. If you just sew, you're a seamstress. If you cook, you're a chef. If you work out every day, you're a trainer. All of these are attributes of the whole. And all of them bring blessings. So you have a right to enjoy it. But you have to see yourself as the priority and work from inward out. My brothers and sisters, one of the things that you must always understand is you are responsible for you. When you don't do something and allow yourself to follow the pack, well, if the leader of the pack makes a mistake, the whole pack makes that mistake. But if you take the lead and say, I don't really think I want to do that right now, then whatever happens to the pack, when it gets back to you, you can sit back and say, I knew someone was telling me not to do that, and look what happened. You never know what you're trying to communicate with yourself until you listen to yourself. And you open up doors that you never realized were there because you were busy doing other things that the system of Westernism tells you should be the priority today. So let's keep in mind the 3 states of consciousness in every situation. One is the dullness state. In the dullness state, you're going to be at your lowest low. Everything's going to be avenged. It could be angry, it could be emotional, it could be mental. But when you identify it, you can change it. Remember the agitated state. When you're at your lowest low, these things are going to keep coming through your mind. Things that you don't even need to think about are going to be coming into your mind. And the reason why they're coming into your mind is because it doesn't want you to have the rationale to organize. And remember, your most powerful state is your lucid state, where you can stop yourself and reorganize and rethink. And remember, sometimes that quiet place plays an important role where you don't have to say nothing at all and listen to your body and your mind and your spirits. And you can open up a lot of doors if you incorporate meditation and a healthy diet, and I'm going to tell you, a vegetable-based diet, because your body knows what that is. And the rawer, the better. Now, am I eating a totally raw diet? No. But I know the wisdom, so you know I'm trying to get there. The only thing and the only quality of life that is higher is the one that you reached above the one you are. And when you reach that next one, you find out there's another level. This is Brother Davis on a Wise Wednesday. We're coming up on a quarter on the hour. I like to stop a little short because I wanted to give Dave or Scotty time in case they want to convey other information to you. But once again, tonight's show is all about being in that sunken place and how to escape from it, empowering yourself. I really wanted to hit on catching the coons.
You still have time,
we'll
Brother Davis.
Time.
Brother Davis, you still have some time. I don't see Brother Dave on the board. He may be attending to something, but he's not on the board. But you have, let me see, about 10 minutes left.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you very much. Now I can hit on this subject. This is called catching the coon. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, catching the coon seems to be pretty arbitrary, but now I got this concept from Dr. Claude Anderson's new book, because he has a segment in there where he's talking about the social pimps. And the social pimps are the people who are making money off those situations that literally they say they're helping people, but what they're trying to do is show numbers so that they can manipulate those numbers with those people who have money. Okay? Now, to give you a quick example, because I don't want you to leave it out in the code, say Al Sharpton calls to March. Now, he has a network of people called NAN. So he knows he can get that network of people working in his favor to get as many numbers there as possible. Okay? So he has the march. And nothing ever comes out of his marches, by the way. Just a bunch of conversation. We won't, I won't, but nothing substance ever really comes out of it. But you know what he does on the following Monday or Tuesday? He gets on the telephone. Did you see my march? Yeah, I had 100,000 people out there. And you know what? That 100,000 people can work for you. They can work against you. Are you all seeing this picture? If you check right now, Al Sharpton's on about 5 major boards. He's on Walmart's board. He's on the AIG board. He's on a number of boards, and those boards pay a salary. He doesn't live where he used to live in Harlem. He lives at the Waldorf Astoria. You see, you have to be able to identify them so that you don't invite them into your camp. Now, even in our neighborhoods, there are people like that. And you have to be able to identify them people, because if not, those are the people who will undermine what you're doing once you allow them to get in. And the sad part about it is they may even come in with advice that is destructive. Oh, you don't need to drink those teas, and you don't need to have alternative health. You need to go down and see that medical doctor. They can give you some pills for that. You know why? Because that medical doctor may be saying, look, I need to get some people out your community. So if I get more people out your community, then I could set up a program where we can send them their work back into the government, and the government will pay us money for the work that we're doing to the people in your community. This is old news. But there's been pimps in our community for years. And they go, well, look, you need to go see Dr. So-and-so. And you go see Dr. So-and-so, and he goes, hey, you know what? So I sent him down to you. You say, oh, yeah, he did. I appreciate that. But he done picked up $200 worth of medicine that he done sent. He done picked up $200 in cash from the pharmaceutical corporations because he done sent all his medicines into this person. You know, people take 10 to 15 medicines. Oh, yeah. Send all of them. Now, this person's carrying all this medicine around, taking all this medicine, and he may not need half of it, but the other half might be for side effects. Are y'all seeing this picture? So before you know it, he's leaving the doctor's office. He got extra $50 in his pocket, because guess what? The doctor want to keep him happy because he wants him to send more people here, because guess what? That person he sent that he got the $200 for, that was for that visit. If he sees him 6 times a year, that's $1,200. And this doctor's seeing that done with 100, 150, 200 people. You see, they have a system that is working for them, so why not have a system that's working for you? Coons are out there, and you got to feather them out. When they get to talking about, well, you You don't need to go there. You don't need to be drinking them teas. You don't need to be exercising. You need to take it easy. Take your blood pressure medicine. Why take your blood pressure medicine when you could change your diet and get a little bit of exercise? You could not even have a read for blood pressure medicine. There are so many people in our black community now that are living with diabetes and this and that, that if they just took the time to look at some of those documentaries I already told you, put themselves in a exercise schedule. It ain't got to be nothing heavy. It's got to be different. They got to let their body know they want change. The body's not going to do anything on its own. You have to initiate it, and the body will come around. A lady said to me one day, she said, I got to have me some fried chicken. Well, where do you see what happens with chicken? Now, they send the chicken outside the country, and they come back in processed. Who knows what happens in that process in China? They don't have no FDA. They don't have no standard. So you got to ask yourself, is my eating that chicken worth the disease that I may get because of some sort of contamination? Now, I know some people out there saying, well, that's the same way with vegetables then. If that's the case, grow your own. It's a very simple process. Remember, things are really naturally simplistic. So if you got a planter in your window and you want to say, just try some onions, okay? Put some onions in there, put them in the windowsill, because see, onions you can pull up and you leave a few in there, they'll grow back. They're called perennials. They return, okay? And you can literally add them to some bean soup, and before you know it, you got yourself a healthy meal there, and guess what? More onions in the window. The whole thing is to understand the process, because I'm going to tell you now, food is supposed to be an attribute to how the body functions. That's how it was designed. All of this other stuff that came along later was not a part of the original plan. It was incorporated by man. And you see, man even thinks he can make man better. There he's trying to make a human out of synthetic parts. So you don't have to call me crazy. And you don't have to call him crazy. But do identify crazy. Because I'll stay away from crazy. I'll stay as far away from crazy as I can. And the reason is because one of their mishaps might end up in my area. So if I grow my own food, and I'll be able to grow enough that I can go out and be a blessing to other people, which what I said before is a transcending blessing, then literally I'm taking control of my life. And you can too. And don't think because you're in an apartment you can't know. There's ways to grow food on a balcony. And my wife used to do this thing where she would look around and find out different ways to have gardens. Well, she was going to other countries and seeing what they're doing. There was a person in South America who had cut plastic bottles off, put the earth in the bottles, left the bottom off. They just put a screen down here so the excess water would drip through. And, I mean, he had vines of tomatoes, he had beans, all on his balcony. So this, a little due diligence would allow you to open the door to a plethora of benefit. But the system doesn't want you to do that. You know why? Because they can't make money off you. People are living off the grid. That is one of the objects of what we're trying to do with the farm. We eventually want to get to a point where we can live totally off the grid. But now they're trying to pass laws against that. That will change because now there are generators that are being so made now that are so small that they can't literally keep a lid on them. So now you're going to start seeing Tesla has what's called a storage battery. This storage battery can be supplied by wind turbine. They can store the energy in these batteries, and solar's energy can be stored in these batteries. So these homes now that have solar are going to add the wind, and before you know it, their house can be able to be maintained with all of the electric it needs based on the system of being able to, there's a word for it, I can't think of it offhand, but literally it's sustainable, that's what it's called. It's sustainable energy. And this is the way the world is going. But here's the unique part about it. These things have all been used before, but we didn't know that. These people aren't inventing new stuff. This stuff has been around thousands and thousands of years, It's just that each civilization that evolves may not tap into the knowledge of the previous civilization because they didn't know they were there. That's why a lot of Mexicans say, you know what? Have you ever heard of the Olmecs? The Olmecs are the heads that they outside. They look like they're on the ground in Mexico. Well, guess what? They dug up those Olmecs and found out those heads were attached to bodies. So a civilization, Easter Island? Easter Island. Those civilizations long before us literally had so much respect for the trade that the African people brought to their civilization that they literally invited them in to their society, and they incorporated the teachings of the Olmecs into their way of life. And they built these things in order to celebrate that relationship. And when you look at them, they're clearly African. Wide nose, big lips, nappy hair, rings, all of it. All of that was us. But you know what? They don't want you to know that, oh no, they're African. African DNA is black people, melanated people. I don't care where you are in the world. You could be, and there's China, listen, for those who don't know, there's black Chinese, there's black Taiwanese, there's black Philippines, there's black Europeans. There's like, do you realize that the leprechaun concept in Ireland literally was a tribe of black people, short black people. Now, they killed them off. They changed the concept from their skin to white and called them leprechauns. Then they told them they had a pot of gold. That was a lie. They ravaged the land and literally obliterated a whole people. And they've done it many, many times on many, many continents. I tell my children, never forget that above all else, you were chosen. Your people, the melanated people, were chosen by the Creator to be here first for a reason. So our time is not going to come without Him being in agreement. And I'm going to tell you something. I say Him facetiously. Reason being is because it may be a her. It could very well be a her. Because you have to understand, the eternal process of humanity does not continue without a her. The strongest energy amongst human and mankind is her. This whole concept of Westernism that taught you the Father, Son, the Holy Ghost, no. That wasn't the case. It was really Osiris, Isis, and Heru. That was the original, that so-called triad. You know what that was? The foundation of all life, okay? So when I talk to my wife, sometimes I'll tell her, you're the wellspring of life, because that's what she is. And when we begin to understand the importance and respect that aspect of it, all women possess that. Now, it's so unique that we'll have another show at another time. This is Brother Davis on a Wise Wednesday, y'all. Please tap into the information I gave you tonight. Check out Netflix, and I'll see you again here next week for another Wise Wednesday with Brother Davis. Peace.
All right. Thank you, Brother Davis and Team Davis. Brother Dave had to drop off. He had to take care of something at where he's at. So we're going to go ahead and close it out, but stay tuned for New Abolitionist Radio coming on at the top of the hour. We have a couple of activists from Cobra joining us tonight. We'll also be talking about the August 19th March on Washington, which will highlight modern day slavery in the prisons and in support of our brothers and sisters who are on the modern day slave plantations. You've been listening to Thando Radio Show. Make sure you join us every weekday at 6 o'clock p.m. for every episode of Thando Radio Show. Peace.